Hello everyone, this is Jay High from Couch and Keyboard, and it is April, so it is time to start doing some quarterly reports. I've done these a few times where over the past 3 months I kind of go over a tier list of players. Instead of ranking fully 1 to 25, 1 to 50, I kind of just give like a broad range and just kind of do whatever feels right. Nothing too crazy, not trying to make anyone feel embarrassed or say that anything is absolutely turning things on its head. Just kind of giving an update as we're getting close to the halfway point of the summer ranking. Yeah. So, I usually use this kind of way of doing it, and it is Mount Melee. Now, as you can see here, the first tier, it's about around 30 players total. I think there's around like 14 or 15 players in this tier. So, like, these players have done fine, but they would like to do much better. As we can see, there's some players that you might recognize as being normally not in this range. Namely, the first few. Zain. Now, Zain has only entered two brackets. I guess technically three with like bare necessities. That wasn't too crazy. I think just beat like J Chew and Day Tripper twice, formerly Kevin Maples. But then got 17th at Genesis, losing to Rat Monster and Cody, the latter of which is, pretty normal. But just didn't really get that many wins. Uh, Beat someone not that notable to make it into Winners Top 24, and then lost twice there. And then out of the blue, beat Ginger to make it into Winners Semis, then lost to Wizzy and H-Box. So the losses themselves were not that bad, just no real wins. I mean, Ginger's a top 20 win, and I kind of put it to where if you got like a top 20, top 25 level win, I put you in this tier. There's a few that are not going here because they were way too inconsistent and locals and whatnot. But yeah, only a Ginger win of like the notable wins. I would say that Zayn is capable much more. But from the data we have, that's where I gotta put him. SCJ in a kind of a similar boat. Did get some Rat Monster wins at Sunset Melee, but unfortunately, just didn't do that well. Fall into the did fall into the routes of Cody's loser's path pretty early. After losing to Wizrobe, which Wizrobe and Cody, not bad losses. Did lose to Rat Monster, but beat him twice at Sunset Melee. Also beat Spark at Sunset Melee. Did not attend Out of the Blue or anything else notable like that. Also, did not have a very good Smash Valley. Lost pretty early to some players I'll mention in a bit. Aklo is I've seen him be at top 7 in these. I've seen him be at this tier or not even on it. So no stranger to that. Aklo did beat Ossify at Out of the Blue. That was good using the link. Also like Nun, Epoodle, Preeminence, Swift. Like those are good. I would say maybe Swift. We'll get into that in a bit. But Ossify being that main top 20 win. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, and then Aura, another very highly ranked player. Now that Salt moved to Oregon, there's been a lot of stuff that Aura and Salt have both been entering. And Aura's gotten some Salt wins. I think that if there are top players that are choosing to enter multiple times, you shouldn't just ignore that. For official rankings, they can do what they choose to do. But for me, I'm going to at least acknowledge it, but I'm not going to give it too much weight. But yeah, and the Magi did beat Ginger in the Falco Ditto and then beat Swift at Genesis, but then not too great after that. Also had some close sets Out of the Blue, but did lose to KJH in the Falco Ditto, as is seen down there. Day Tripper did pretty well, beat Zasa multiple times after Zasa had beaten Rat Monster at Sunset Melee, and does well against Rat Monster and Region. So just proving to be not necessarily the biggest wins on the biggest stage, but consistent in region, and the region is pretty strong right now. So big nod there. Dial M, another person with an Ospi win. I think Ospi is an amazing player, so I'm going to give credit to people that beat Ospi. Dial M had a crazy Genesis run. Also entered like there's a few things that Dial M didn't do too great at. Was it like a Kansas tournament or something? Like Sweet Spot? I might be mixing it up. But Dylan pretty much only had that Genesis run from what I saw. And the run was good. It was like Gatsu, Daniel, Ossify, Grab, Ossify being that main win. And that's a solid win. So enough to throw him in here. Sir Maris. Probably one of the best wins in this tier, but was very inconsistent overall. Sir Maris beat SDJ in Peach Puff at Smash Valley. That was pretty crazy. But lost to like the real thing and some other not great performances. Still good though. I think worthy of. We see Sir Maris be able to make these upsets, so I would not be surprised. Last year, Axe, the year before, or maybe the year before that, Mango. So Sir Maris, another big upset. Zasa, I mentioned earlier, got some Rap Monster wins. That's about it. Lost to Daniel at Genesis. Not bad. Daniel is decent at the Puff matchup, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, Chicken Man, aka Bobby Big Balls, also got some Rap Monster wins. Rap Monster technically was ranked outside the top 20, but for reasons we'll get to in a bit, I consider Rap Monster to be pretty much top 20. 4-4 Cray, made a video about him and then immediately did pretty well. Beat Slug and got really close to winning. Was it? I think Super Fusion. Yeah, Super Fusion. It went to Grand Finals reset against Slug. Did take one set. Did pretty good there. Beat D Tripper, I believe, as well. Zamu. Zamu didn't do crazy. Zamu's usually kind of like doing fine, and then we'll get this really good win to kind of catapult them. Has a Moth win. Moth's kind of in that top 20, top 25 range. Moth is kind of inconsistent, but still good. KJH had that Magi win, and Zoe did have a Salt win. Now Zoe, formerly Fat Goku, not really entering much, but when your home scene is doing pretty good, you might enter some. I think also has a Salt and an Aura win, which they're both top 20. So even if it's a smaller event, I still think that's worth something. And they also did like these Egg Dog like mini invitational things for Pacific Northwest. I had like Graves and I think Spark entered one of them. But yeah, like Chango. So good stuff to Zoe. Back in action. All right, the next one is this is kind of, I think this is technically 11 through 18. The bottom tier not really ordered. This one kind of ordered, but not super in depth. So I'll start from the bottom to the top, kind of go up to it. Now Triff had a far run at Genesis, but I think the potency of the run isn't as strong when you look at the players. Obviously, not his fault that Cody lost early, but beat Axe and beat Magi, which is good, but that's not what you normally expect from a 5th place run. Lost to Sunsei and then lost to Salt. Yeah, lost to Salt because Salt got 4th. That's right. And so Triff did fine. You know, back-to-back top 8 to Genesis is not bad at all. But an Axe win is good. But I would say that not quite enough to go up to the next tier. Because it's like a top 10 win is going to put you in one of these next 2 tiers, but depending on what you have alongside that, it's kind of the difference. Kem also beat SDJ like Sir Maris did, but Kem had a much more consistent season. Kem had just, didn't enter as much. Kev bot win. I'd say the losses kind of bring Sir Maris down. I could see Kem and Sir Maris being closer, but yeah. Panda. Now, Florida was really interesting this past season because they had a lot of stuff. Like, they had a $2,000 prize pool tournament, like, bi-weekly. and the H box was associated with. It had, I think Zomba went to one of the ultimate ones. Like it was pretty popping. But for Melee, it was like H box. I think Wizrobe entered one of them. Panda, Crudo, uh, a lot of like top Florida talent. And so when you're kind of trading sets back and forth, maybe it kind of like all tides or the rising tide lifts all boats type thing. And so they kind of benefit from that. But I mean, if they're entering and playing each other, then I give props. And so Panda got a Wizrobe win and 4 Crudo wins. Also J-Chu and Gatsu. I'm not going to count them too heavily since they're local wins, but I still think you should focus on them a little bit. Kadoran. I haven't seen Kadoran in a little bit. I think Kadoran was kind of on his way out. Former top 10. Really good. Beat Moki at Genesis. Now, Genesis is a great West Coast event because a lot of people, like, that's their one thing to go to. We see, like, SFAT. We see these players that have, like, you know, NorCal a little bit easier than SoCal, but, like, players that will, like, only enter Genesis. And so Kadoran, I don't think was planning on entering a ton more stuff. Has entered some locals, but getting a Moki win and also a Nun win, I believe, the same tournament. Doing pretty good. Went to Sunset Melee and didn't do too hot. Lost a Rat Monster and I think DQ'd after that. But still fine. Had like some losses, I think, like Eddie Mexico at local. So a little inconsistent, but Moki win is still very good. Moki was top 5 last year. Josh Man, one of the higher players in this tier, I'd say. Did beat Jmook to make top 8 at Out of the Blue. Also beat Crudo and Ossify. That's solid. Crudo was on the summer top 10 last year. Ossify, we mentioned Ossify is a good player. We know Josh Man is much more capable. We'll have to see how he does in these next few months. There should be some stuff like Full House and a few other things. He might go to altitude sickness, I'm not sure. But yeah, I expect Josh Man to go up. Spark had kind of have an off year last year. I think it was because he was like using one of those like Cubstraptions things, which I think is a cool concept because like my idea of the box is like I want to have an analog for thumb. Like I want to have that ability to just kind of go around. I feel like the WASD, whatever you want to call it, is not my preference. But I do like the button layout that you can get. I did get a fight stick, and I was trying it out a little bit to where, you know, having these all these buttons here instead of just using your thumb and pointer finger, I can see a lot of value in. But yeah, either way, was doing some controller modding stuff, and I think was trying a different controller for himself. Did get an Axe win at Genesis, and also got, I think, 2 different Saw wins at the Eggdog February event, I believe. And those were like kind of like more of a monthly regional invitational type thing instead of just a normal weekly, like out of Smash Series or something. Like this was a little bit more established. So after Spark had it like a top 40 year, turning it around so far. Ginger had a really interesting season so far. One of the most screwed players in terms of brackets. Having to play Cody in Losers Top 32 the round before. So even if he won that, he had to play Zain, right? I mean, that's just a cursed bracket. And he has beaten Cody before, but I mean, that's just tough. And then it'd be like SCJ and H-Box, 2 puffs. Yeah, that was rough. Did lose to Magi in the Ditto right before that, but beat Josh Man in Losers Top 8 Out of the Blue. And that's pretty good. Also has Crudo and Ossify wins, S2J, Preeminent. No, that was wrong person. That was Josh Man's. Let me see where I have Ginger. Spark, Gatsu, Shroomed, Daki. Okay, that's good. And does not have bad losses at all. Worst loss is Magi. Zain, Cody, Moki, Magi are his losses. That's 3 top 5 and then a very strong like top 15, 20 player. So that's not bad at all. And then Moki has a little bit of flexibility here. That Kadoran loss is like Yeah, Kadoran's kind of washed, but Kadoran's former top 10. So it's depending on how you want to do it. Beat H-Box in winner's bracket out of the blue. Lost to run back, but still did very good. Also wins on Aklo and Ginger. Fiction did lose to Slug in winner's bracket out of the blue. Lost to Kadoran and then Crudo. Crudo's not a bad loss. So I could see you kind of arguing Moki to go a little higher, but I have him at the top of this tier. This is like the number 11 right now, and I'm sure Moki's not satisfied. So I'll have to see how it goes next time. Let's see. The next tier is, this is a very peculiar tier. Now, if you notice, not very many low tiers so far. Only Dial M. Not really many, like only one Sheik between the two tiers. A lot of Foxes, a few Puffs, few Peaches. But this tier kind of brings up a little bit of more character diversity. Now, Sunsei had a really good placing at Genesis, getting third place. That's very good. And again, kind of like for Triff, not his fault that Cody lost. But if you're looking at the sole wins themselves, H-Box, Triff, and Kadoran are good wins. But I would say it's not necessarily like, top 5 level wins as of now. I mean, Sunsei made it into Full House. We're going to see the potential to get, I think you have like guaranteed 4 sets at Full House. So I imagine a lot more opportunities to go up from here. But yeah, H-Box win, very good. His first H-Box win ever. And Triff Kadoran, nothing to sneeze at. Like that's why I say like Sunsei and Moki are pretty close. You had to draw a line somewhere. But yeah, Salt been very dominant in region. Dropped a few here and there to to Zoe and a few to Aura, but I think it's like 16-4 for this year in favor of Salt. And then also beat Josh Man in losers, and then beat Triff right after to get 4th place to qualify for Full House. At Genesis, also beat Rat Monster, which that also looks better. Beat Kadoran as well. Yeah, Salt is pretty solid. Again, depending on how much you want to put on some of the Oregon locals, I think that the more like Egg Dog stuff monthlies are a little bit more worthy of being counted, but still, Salt been doing very well in a pretty stacked region currently. Crudo. Now, Crudo has had kind of a surprising season. Now, Crudo had a really strong first half of last year, then kind of fell off, lost to Rat Monster a few times, which that happens. But Crudo did beat Moki at Genesis. Very good. Just entered a lot into where some of these things matter more than others. But at locals beat H-Box and then Wizzy 3 times. That's pretty surprising. And Wizruba lost to Sheiks before. But that is something that is pretty impressive. And so even if you only want to count those as like a half, that's still 4 wins on top 10 people besides Moki. So I think that's something to recognize. Again, if you don't want to count it at all, just look at the Moki win. Very good. Lots of other wins besides that as well. And had to run into Cody at Genesis in that losers run. Also beat Ossify. They lose to Slug, but that happens. Sheik Ices is a little rough. And then we have Swift. Cody win. That's it. Cody's only loss of the year so far. Only entered 1 tournament. But that's a big deal. And so Swift has entered a few things in Tri-State. Has a few ACLO wins. I think it's 3-2 on ACLO at local stuff. I think it's New York Stock Exchange maybe. So that's good. But the Cody win is what's putting him up here. And that's a big deal. We'll have to see how good Cody is at Full House or other events that he may go to kind of contextualize it. But as of now, number 2 last year, winner of Genesis, that's a good win. Now we have Rat Monster. Now, Rat Monster has been kind of on the grind. Now, Obviously, the Zayn win was everywhere. Like, I mean, that, dude. I love Zayn. I really like Zayn. It hurts me to put Zayn this far low, like, down here. But the freaking misfire kill and just this, like, oh, man. Rat Monster's incredible. And it's really cool. So, I mean, there's a case that he is 6th in the world right now based on 2026 data. But either way, does have some losses, but has entered a ton. So the wins, I have Zayn, SDJ at Sunset Melee. Did lose that tournament, but got a set. Also beat Kador in there. Beat Aura to play Zayn, then lost to Wizrobe and Salt. Beat Slug twice at Smash Valley. That was very good. Beat Crike in region like 4 times. Beat J-Chu. Beat, I think J-Chu was at Bare Necessities. Beat Daytripper a bunch of times. Has also beaten Kim and Sir Maris. I believe those were also at Smash Valley. Maelstrom, Grab, Frostbite. Pretty good at the Ices matchup. But yeah, it does have some losses. Lost to Zasa twice. Which Zasa is, best in NC right now. I'm from NC. Gotta respect it. Besides, I mean, Bobby losses. Just have a loss to Anakin. Which is a decent Fox in NDVA, but I think when you just spam locals, sometimes you get beat. So I don't want to hold it against him too much. I think this is like kind of helps the people that played against him more than it hurts him, because I mean one of the few people to beat Zayn this year is very good, and yeah, and just a lot of wins besides that. So I could see you argued maybe like below a few of these other players. If you even have Moki above Rat Monster currently, I guess you could do that. But I don't know. I think Rat Monster is looking very solid right now, and with him having so many new matchups for him at Full House, I can see him being even higher. But either way, going forward, we had the second to last tier. This is like the 3 through 5 range, and this is Slug, Jmook, and Hbox. Now, Slug being this high, I think he was, like 9 or 10 in 2022 after the runs at Double Down and LSI. But Slug went crazy. I have Slug at 3 here, and I normally go bottom to top. I just got to go left to right. I have Slug with wins on Moki, Jmook, Wizrobe, 2 on Crudo, Ossify, 4 Cray, B-Bats, E-Poodle, OG Kid. Very good. Now, when you look at it, Moki is a top 5 win. Jmook and Wizrobe are top 10. Crudo and Ossify are like top 20. But I think when you contextualize to where Jmook got second in Genesis, Wizrobe won the events, beating Crudo, he did pretty well. Like, I think that Slug is potentially the 3rd best in terms of placings. Also won Super Fusion over 4 Cray. Did drop a set, but still did very well. Slug did not attend Genesis, so I think if you want to take that away and consider some of these other placings to be heavier because Genesis is more stacked, I can see that. But in terms of just like being able to get winner side of grands with a pretty impressive run, yeah, some matchups were easier, but still a very, very good run. I think Slug is solidly top 5 in terms of results right now. Jmook has been known to be pretty inconsistent. I love Jmook. Great player, really fun to watch, inspiring chic, and has done pretty good. A Joshman win, which is better than a Moki win on paper, 4 versus 5. Also wins on Wizrobe, Crudo, Sunsei, Aklo, Smash Poppy, Goody, etc. And losses are not bad at all. We see like a pretty low placing at out of the blue, getting second at winner side of grands, getting second at Genesis, very good. I think the Sunsei win is kind of elevated because of his winners finals, and so second and 9th doesn't sound that crazy, but that 9th was losing to Slug and Joshman. Like, that's not bad. I think when you contextualize who you lose to, it can mean a lot of different things. Not every 9th place, not every 17th place or 25th is the same. And then I have HBox slightly behind, getting what, third and ninth at the two majors, and doing a lot of entering at the or something arcade, the arcade local in Florida. HBox, one of the few players to beat Zain, also has a Moki win. Also, Salt, Aklo, a bunch of Crudo and Panda wins, Spark, Zasa, etc. Worst loss, even including weeklies, is Crudo. Sunsei is 0-4 against Wizrobe, including the weeklies. 0-1 when you just look at out of the blue. Then losses to Moki and Cody. Traded with Moki, so that's not bad. So yeah, I think HBox had a case to be higher, but getting third and ninth, is good. But I'm not necessarily going to say that he's clearly above. At one point, I was going to put HBox 3 and then Slug and Jmook with the lower tier, but I think this is a nice 3 through 5 for right now. And then we have our top two, which this is pretty ordered, I'd say. Yeah, we have Cody and Wizrobe, our two major winners. No surprise there. The people that won the tournaments are the two biggest tournaments are the ones that are in the lead. Now, Wizrobe entered both of them. So I think that if you want to make it a tie and give Wizrobe the benefit of the doubt even not the doubt, but reward the attendance, you could do that. But I think Wizrobe is a little bit below when you look at the context. Also, Wizrobe entered locals, those stacked locals, which are, have big implications with the sets and matchups and whatnot. And it also helps them because of more HBox wins. So a win on Zain, that crazy ending. Oh my god, it was going to be a 4-stock, then reverse 4-stock, then somehow even crazier ending than their Genesis set a bunch of years ago, where he fainted in the chair. Like, man, it was just going crazy. And then an HBox win at in losers finals out of the blue, but also a bunch of HBox wins at locals as well. Beat SDJ for the first time ever. I think it was 0-2 previously at Genesis, and then beat Slug twice in grand finals. Also beat Crudo, beat Rat Monster, Panda a few times, etc. Did have a loss to Panda and Crudo, but still did very well. I think that I'd say overall benefited from the locals because of more HBox wins. You want to count that as just even. You have a second and a fifth with a Slug loss, and then a Cody and Jmook loss. Not bad at all. And then Cody, you have won the only event he entered, and it was a pretty crazy run. Now, I think some people think that losers' runs are more impressive than winners' runs. A lot of times I think losing once and having more sets is not necessarily more impressive than if you were to stay in winners in the first place. But this run was not easy. I think abnormally so, because he had to play so many good players so quickly. The top 3 players, only one of them was guaranteed to make top 8. And Cody was that person. Beat, Inky, then Ginger, then SDJ, then, beat Inky, Ginger, Zain, SDJ, HBox, Crudo, Wizrobe, Salt, Sunsei, Jmook. Crazy run. Had also beaten Daniel in winners brackets. Yeah, I mean that's crazy. And the Swift loss, even though it was 2 versus 31 for seeding, Swift is a good player. Swift has had a bunch of good results in the past, so I don't think you really need to act like it's some crazy, like it's not like the Bing loss. I think it's like half the seeding, I would say, but I would say it was at Gommel. Gommel was in the stack, so a Genesis 60 third seed, 64th seed is not the same as like a Gommel 64th seed. So I would say that, and then half of that, I would say that Swift is like, would probably be seeded like top 20 at a Gommel or something. So I think that when you look at that, it doesn't really take away too much from Cody. I would not, like, again, if he had just stayed in winners and you have 0 losses, then I don't think that would be worse. I don't think he necessarily gained by going to loser bracket early. Either way, I think he'd be a number 1. And Wizrow very close behind. And again, if you want to call them straight up a tie, that is fine to me. I think they're a clear 1-2 right now, and both entering full house. We have a lot of players: Cody, Wizrobe, Jmook, HBox, Rat Monster, Salt Sunsei. Like a lot of these players are up there. A few notably not there, like Dawson, Sauce Humane, None, Dark Gen X. But they had the opportunity. And so there's going to be, speaking of, a lot of events coming up in this next quarter. It's going to be pretty crazy. You have some European tournaments. You have Full House. House of Pain, I think, has a few people entering. Pat's House is coming back. Altitude Sickness. MomoCon. Normally they're just Ultimate, but I think they're trying to get more. I've heard Creed. I think this is the last Creed of the current TO. Smash Camp, sometimes in a weird place. Battle BC, always a banger. Patchwork, I heard Zane's going to that. Another European event. So yeah, this next quarter is going to be a bloodbath. Usually the first quarter, a little bit slow. Sometimes it's just Genesis. Last year, I think it was like Genesis and Battle BC the very last weekend. This time it was out of the blue. And I think that it's been a pretty cool beginning of the year, but this next season is going to be wild. So make sure you tune in, and I am excited to see how things will shake up. I think Josh will probably go up. I think that Ramos will probably stay up here. I think that's Zain. I think that Zain will go up. Probably Aura as well. But yeah, we'll have to see. Let me know your predictions, and if you disagree, if I miss someone, let me know. And hope you have a great day.